Hi everyone, my name is Martin David. I am from Vanuatu in the South Pacific, and I work for the Vanuatu Tourism Office, the head office which is located in Port Vila, Vanuatu. I look after, more or less manage a huge program for the Vanuatu Tourism Office, which is the long haul program that focuses on the North American market, basically US, and specifically California, San Francisco, and Vancouver in Canada. And I also manage marketing programs in Asia with the likes of Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, China, and we also extend our marketing development programs to Europe, especially France and Germany. So I am happy to be part of this podcast interview with the team here today, and it's my pleasure to talk to you about a few things about Vanuatu.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for joining 30 Minutes with dailystraits.com. So this is our first live podcast interview. We normally do it by Google Meet. So thank you so much, Martin, for agreeing to be interviewed. So how does Vanuatu plan to attract Asian tourists and increase their interest in visiting Vanuatu?
So the Asian market is part of the long-haul market development program for the Vanuatu Tourism Office. So the key Asian markets, like I said before, is China, Japan, and South Korea, Hong Kong and Singapore, of course. So pre-COVID, the International Visitor Survey Market Research Insights with the IFC has confirmed the following insights for China as key Asian market for Vanuatu is number one, highest spend from the IVS with over 2,144 per person compared to $1,553 for all. That's in terms of UST spending. Chinese tourists were interested to visit Tana, sitting at 58%, and 25% interested to visit Sando. So that's the stats for number of tourists visiting Tana and Sando. Tana and Sando are two main adventure destinations for Vanuatu. The last one is 4,000 Chinese travelers arrived in Vanuatu in 2019, with focus for 10,000 in 2020 that will generate around 12.8 million USD. But unfortunately, we all know that after 2019, that was impacted heavily by COVID, and we are still working to get the numbers up to 10,000 as per the forecast that we had in 2019. So 2019, we had about 4,000 Chinese travelers arriving in Vanuatu, and we wanted to see that number increase by 10,000 in 2020. But obviously, the borders were shut down in 2020, so we're still coming back this year to reconnect with the Asian market to try and see how better we can facilitate travel for the Asian market to Vanuatu so that we are able to hit a target of 12.8 million USD per spend.
Okay, so why Asian tourists? Why all of a sudden you have interest in Asia?
I think in terms of yield, Asians spend more when they come to Vanuatu, and they have a longer average length of stay. So for us, focusing on the long haul market, it's a way that it's a strategy that we want to compensate during the low season. So for the low season in Vanuatu, because our key source markets in Vanuatu are Australia, New Zealand, and New Caledonia. So during the low season, we want to compensate for the low yield during the low season. So how to do that is we want to try conversion and awareness to the Asian market, how we are better prepared to receive the Asian market. So that's why we are focusing data and numbers and access. How can we coordinate accessibility in terms of air access from the Asian market to Vanuatu? So basically, that's it.
Awesome. So, what are unique aspects of Vanuatu's culture, attractions, and experience that would be appealing for Asian tourists? Because Asian tourists, right, they love to shop, eat. So, Vanuatu, I think there is it's a slightly different market. So, what do you think is the draw for Asian tourists to come here?
Okay, I think Vanuatu for the Asian market, the biggest drawback for Asian market is adventure seekers. So for any Asian tourist coming to Vanuatu, they love adventure. So that is the biggest thing that Vanuatu has. When you talk about Vanuatu, Vanuatu is the best adventure destination in the South Pacific, because you talk about more than 83 islands and different islands, more than 100 cultures and languages, and it's fascinating to see that each island do not have the same type of culture and adventure. So for the Asian market, according to our marketing programs, we focus adventure and culture development programs for the Asian market. So marketing strategies for the Asian market is targeting trade first with the following activities: updated market research on travel, behavior, and spend. Like you said, familiarization visit for our tour operators. So we have tour operators from the Asian market visiting Vanuatu as media families and trade families. So they have to experience firsthand what type of adventures we have in Vanuatu, what type of experiences we offer in terms of culture, food, and that's the biggest struggle that we facilitate and coordinate for media families to come over to Vanuatu and experience that before they get the content and take it back, and we're able to share that in our markets in Asia. Development of marketing collaterals and digital contents, that's basically what we do also. We have a website, we make sure that we update all the digital content that we collect, brand images and brand messaging, which is Answer the Call of Vanuatu. We push it out through our digital platforms as well. Development of trade brochure and assets for social channels and media, Facebook page, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. We all have those social media up and running. So we do a lot of social posts and engagement with followers. Media family, like I said, travel blogger. We also do co-marketing partnership activities with China market specialists. So we have a media company in China that we develop e-learning platforms for the Chinese travelers. And the Asian travelers, particularly China, they're so different in terms of what type of social media they use, for example. So you talk about WeChat, we don't have WeChat in Vanuatu, so we are able to work with media companies that translate our content into Chinese, and they're able to upload it in the WeChat social media for the Chinese market. We also develop partnership with Kaisa, CYDS, and CDS as major wholesalers for China. These are all media companies in China. And according to the product development and sales training, we also focus on Chinese product development, sales training for China market, packages development for Beijing and Shanghai, B2B, business to business, attendance of CIDM and CIET with 3 seminars, and training of local inbound operators, both for China and for Vanuatu. So Vanuatu Tourism Office has not commenced any work in the Singaporean market as yet, but we'll need to do so as this is a new market for corporate business and holiday travelers. So part of our, see, Vanuatu is a small country, so in terms of budget, we focus on one market and we make sure that we develop all the marketing activities and we get the traction we need before we start moving to another market. So like I said before, Asia, for us, we target Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong, China. And this year we focus so much on China. In the next 3 years, we will have to shift to Singapore, Hong Kong, and Japan.
Okay, great. Okay, so now to come to Vanuatu from Asia, right, it's very difficult. You have to go to either Australia or New Zealand, and maybe from Singapore, there's a flight, Singapore and New Caledonia is connecting right now with Air Calin. So you can also come to Vanuatu via New Caledonia. But, this is like very expensive because you have to buy many flights to come here. Do you have any plans in the future to have direct connectivity? Maybe Singapore Airlines Vanuatu or Malaysian Airlines Vanuatu. What's the plan?
That's a very, very important question. For the long haul market, which I manage, we still have the biggest challenge around air access and connectivity. Aviation in Vanuatu, I would say we are struggling. Vanuatu has a lot to offer. The Vanuatu Tourism Office has the capacity to promote and advertise and sell the destination. But again, it all depends on air access and connectivity. How do you bring people to Vanuatu? How do you enable them to come and experience Vanuatu? So it all depends on either air access or cruise access. So we did have a very, very strategic aviation plan, 2030. Unfortunately, that plan has been put aside. We're still waiting for the government to consider picking up the plan again, because it was developed prior COVID, and then after COVID, it's been of a back and forth discussion with government authorities about how we can better improve aviation connectivity. So, to answer your question, the government has plans to open up direct route from either Singapore to Vanuatu or from LA to Vanuatu, but it's a work in progress.
Okay.
For us, it's a work in progress. We might need a lot of time to put our hands together and for every government officials and executives to really see the need that tourism brings in Vanuatu. So for now, we focus on the short haul market connectivity. Focus on the short haul market connectivity via Nandi and New Caledonia. So if you're planning to travel from Asia to Vanuatu, we are building partnership with Air Calin and also with Fiji Airways. If you're flying from US or Canada to Vanuatu, you fly via Nandi. So at the moment we have plans, it's a work in progress, but if you're planning to visit Vanuatu and if you are from Asia or Europe or from North America, you can fly through Singapore, you can fly through Tokyo to New Caledonia and to Vanuatu, or you can fly LA, San Francisco to Nandi, and you can fly to Vanuatu. Or either way to Australia, and you can get on Virgin Airways, because Virgin Airways has commenced the flights to Vanuatu.
Okay, why Singapore, by the way? Do you have a reason why you're targeting Singapore so much?
I think Singapore is probably one of the transit points, the biggest transit points in Asia, with a lot of key airlines transiting through Singapore. So it's much easier flying through Singapore and then having the connectivity to Vanuatu. From Asia, Singapore, you can fly to New Caledonia, you can fly to Fiji, you can fly to Australia. And then from Australia, Fiji, and New Caledonia, that's where you connect to Vanuatu.
Okay, great. Awesome. So, okay, when you Google Vanuatu, right, it's like, it comes out as a French country, people speak French here. But when I'm here myself, I realize that English is widely spoken. So just for the Asian tourists, because Asian tourists, they have many people haven't been here. Can you just tell me like the many people might be afraid to come here because they think that there's a language barrier, but there isn't. English is widely spoken here, and a lot of Asians speak English. So can you just add to that?
I think in terms of language, Vanuatu is a multicultural country. So we were influenced by the French and the British before 1980 when we got independence. So half of the Vanuatu population speaks French and half speak English. English is widely spoken throughout the country, and French you can also see it spoken throughout the country. But despite English and French, a lot of people speak English. And for any traveler that is coming to Vanuatu, we do have a number of people who are into translation. So if you are coming to Vanuatu, you are Asian and you don't speak English, you have people who can help you to understand where you want to go and places to visit and whatnot. But for us, language is not so much a barrier. It's not so much a barrier because a lot of people who come to Vanuatu, they speak English because we provide the information to them before they come. So we tell them Vanuatu English is widely spoken. So, and it's not hard to miss anything if you're in Vanuatu, because it's a small country. People are friendly. People communicate a lot. People talk to you a lot. So if you are here, and we can easily connect you to someone who might be able to help you in terms of difficulty in speaking appropriate language. So for us, it's not so much a barrier for any travelers coming to Vanuatu. If you speak French, we can help you talk to someone who speaks French, and it's the same for English.
Okay, so in Tahiti and New Caledonia, taxis are still metered and required cash payment. And this is the same in Vanuatu as well. For travelers from first world countries like Singapore, who are used to ride shares apps like Uber that accept credit card payments, this might be like a cumbersome hindrance to them. So what are you doing to improve transportation infrastructure like buses, for them easily for tourists to move from one place to another? Like, is there any plans?
That's a good question. It's like I would say that for every country, for every destination, transport systems are not the same. That's the first thing to note. Secondly, in terms of technology, I think we are not at that position to really use or implement the full technology. Uber, Vanuatu doesn't have an Uber. Metered taxi, Fiji has that, Vanuatu doesn't have that. That's the point of difference that Vanuatu has with Fiji. For Vanuatu, we do have taxis, we do have local buses, but we use a lot of cash in Vanuatu. There is no proper system in place for you to pay by card, for example. But we do have a regulatory body that regulates all transports prices in Vanuatu. So standard prices from the airport to your hotel, if you are arriving in Port Vila, that's all been regulated. So there is no overcharging, because the hotels do also check what have you paid the taxi driver after the taxi drops you, or after a transfer from the airport drops you. So it's still a work in progress, I guess, because it all depends on technology in the country. Once you have greater connectivity, network coverage is okay, then you'll be able to um, set in place facilities that will enable you as a card holder to use your card in anywhere you're traveling. So our means of transport is still effective, but it's just the payment systems that need to be addressed. And I think that the Land Transport Authority will probably in the near future have something in place along that line.
Okay, so how much does tourism generate for Vanuatu's GDP? And what is Vanuatu doing to develop and further promote this key revenue generating area? Because I think it's your number one, tourism is your number one revenue generator, right? So what are you doing?
I think pre-COVID, tourism contributed to 18% of GDP, representing both direct and indirect total tourism receipts valued at 16 to 19 billion Vatu annually. So the government is now refocusing on investing in key infrastructure, developing projects to strengthen the country's position for aviation connectivity and growth. Like I said before, we need to refocus on investing in key infrastructures, communication, air access, that will help increase GDP. The government with partners are also investing in the productive sector, targeting in agriculture and manufacturing sector, so that increase production of produced commodities and goods from commercial agriculture and manufacturing are produced as Vanuatu made for more domestic and export markets. So Vanuatu Made is a brand, and we're focusing on ensuring that we grow the export for Vanuatu Made. And those are goods manufactured in country. The government continues to support the development and growth of the tourism sector to ensure that sustainable tourism development is the model for growing and focusing on the destinations to be developed like Sando, Malakula, Pentecost and other islands that have the infrastructure. Aviation connectivity, telecommunication support and services are also along that line. Agriculture, manufacturing, foreign direct investment, tourism and remittance from the labor mobility programs continue to be the current generating sectors for the economy. So tourism is sitting at 18%, but we do have commercial agriculture creeping in with remittance from labor mobility. They are also generating the revenue that the government needs. And you know, like you ask, what are we doing? We want the government to reinvest with partners to address telecommunication infrastructure for the potential islands that have tourism offers. And in that way, connectivity is improved, so we were able to receive more visitors coming.
Okay, finally, how does Vanuatu differ from other French-speaking destinations in the Pacific, namely New Caledonia and French Polynesia? Basically, right, what is your unique selling point in comparison to these two other countries?
Well, first of all, Vanuatu is a republic and an independent nation under its own sovereignty. Vanuatu speaks legally and obviously 3 languages: French, English and Bislama. That's the unique selling point. Vanuatu has well-established relationship with other Melanesian partners, for example, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, New Caledonia and West Papua. So in the Pacific region, that's one good thing about Vanuatu. Vanuatu has diplomatic relations with China, Australia, New Zealand, United States, United Kingdom, Japan, and other missions of which we use our sovereignty to seek technical assistance and support to aid our development programs. So, briefly, those are the main things about Vanuatu. And we are well positioned in the Pacific. In terms of market position in the Pacific, we are 3 hours away from Australia. We are 1 hour away from New Caledonia, probably 1.5 hours away from Fiji. So in terms of location in the South Pacific to the main markets, that gives us another competitive advantage over other Pacific countries. And we even 3 hours away from New Zealand. So that's geographically we are positioned closer to the markets, and if you're traveling from a long distance coming to New Caledonia, Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji, it's easy, short flight to Vanuatu.
All right, thank you for all of that, and that's all the time that we have for today. We have just been speaking to Martin David, who's just talking to us about the greatness of Vanuatu and why you should visit it, and how they are targeting the Singaporean Asian market. So, any last words, Martin?
I think, first of all, I'd like to thank Global Straits for the time.
Daily Straits.
Daily Straits. Cut that out. Daily Straits for the time. There is a lot that the Vanuatu government is embarking on. There is a lot. National infrastructure development projects, the government is embarking on that. The South Tana Road development project with the support from the CCECC. We have, the Port Vila Airport Development Road project to make sure that the Port Vila city upgrades all the roads and traffic management plan. We also have the South Pentecost Road Development Project for Pentecost Island. Pentecost is famous for the land diving. We have TIFAD and ADB working with Airports Vanuatu Limited to develop the master plan for the Port Vila International Airport, the Sando International Airport, the Tana Airport, and the Norsup Airport project with the Airports Vanuatu Limited. We have the Labida Sea Wharf project funded by the World Bank, and the government has enabled easier access of goods into the country. We also have the Domestic Shipping Wharf project funded by the MFAD, and this is yet to be completed. We have Air Vanuatu as the national airline undergoing a reform for governance strengthening and technical assistance by TIFAD. The government has introduced the e-commerce policy in 2020 to strengthen online payment, gateways and platforms for ease of doing business, and it's a work in progress. This has now enabled the collaboration of commercial banks to introduce EFTPOS machine systems and Visa card and MasterCard merchants to be used in tourism establishments and several businesses for purchase of goods and services. Earlier on I talked about taxis and buses, to install the correct tools you need to enable payment process. The Public Land Transport Authority, as I said before, is the key agent that regulates public transport and taxi and buses in Port Vila. There is no meter, like you said before, which is still not used in Vanuatu. But a rate schedule is prepared to be used by port taxis and buses servicing all consumers. So there is a lot for Vanuatu to work on in terms of improving a little, parts and pieces of important areas that will allow tourists to enjoy Vanuatu. So accessibility, you talk about wharf, you talk about roads, you talk about airports. We have plans to be able to work on that. And transactions, and access, moving around the city in terms of transport, we hope to have a better efficient system in the next 5 years or 10 years. But again, Vanuatu is a laid-back country. It's easy to find your way around because people are friendly. It's been chosen and voted twice as the happiest place on earth because people talk to you on the streets, people are friendly, they smile, and that makes Vanuatu more different to other South Pacific destinations. And that's a unique selling point for us as well. It's the people, it's the culture, and it's the environment that makes us different. And for you, for anyone traveling to Vanuatu, you will not regret visiting Vanuatu because you may read and see maybe people bring up challenges about Vanuatu, but as a traveler coming to Vanuatu, you yourself will be able to find that Vanuatu is so much different. Sometimes we read about a destination itself without being in a destination is totally two different things. So thank you so much for the time and the opportunity to speak a little bit about Vanuatu. You can always visit us at www.vanuatu.travel. That's our main website, and you'll read about everything about Vanuatu, and most of the things that I've mentioned today, you're able also to see that on our website. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, just say, tell me your name.
Olivier.
Fernandez?
Fernandez, yes.
Okay, tell me, like, how long have you been in Vanuatu?
I first came in 2006 and we moved permanently in 2009.
Okay, so basically, right, why Vanuatu?
My wife was born and raised in Vanuatu, so that's the connection. I traveled a lot in Africa before. I was doing commodities trading, so I always got a love for countries that actually produce the cacao, the coffee, all those commodities, and Vanuatu is one of them. So basically meeting my wife in a country that has like all those great things was kind of the perfect mix.
Okay, great. So when you came here, right, in 2006, so 2009 you started your business?
We started working with the farmers in 2010, and since then we've had several projects back to back. Gaston Chocolat was created in 2017, and we've been operating since then.
Okay, so tell me, how easy is it to open a business in Vanuatu? Like, what do you need? Basically, the how much investment, and then the license, everything. Just give us the whole.
Okay, certainly not the easiest place to start a business. I think we rank 126 in terms of country for ease of doing business, so it's not a really good score. It takes a lot of passion. You have to be ready to do the extra mile, because it's not like in many developed countries where you have specialists in every area. Here you have one guy who does the job, but not many of them doing all services. So you have to learn like the ways of doing work in Vanuatu. All it takes is basically a VIPA and a license, so it's not super hard to start or to get started. In terms of capital, banking rates are quite high, so you won't borrow money from the bank, or at least not a lot of money. So you have to have some capital and be ready to, you know.
How much? How much?
How much?
Your capital. How much is your capital?
To start, like Gaston's probably worth 80 million baht now, so that would be 600,000 US dollars.
So, but when you started in 2009, how much did you have?
We started with about 200,000
USD.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And the money we used was just enough to get started with lots of, it took a lot of work to succeed.
Basically, right, what is the hardest part in starting a business? What are the risks?
The risks are you don't get the supply, like we do food, okay? So I will talk about food businesses, not other businesses, because I don't have that knowledge. For us, it was securing the supply of cacao, because it comes from the island, so we had to make sure that we could get good quantities of cacao and good quality as well. Once we've secured that supply, we had to make sure that we would get the right equipment. So you see behind me lots of machines. Those machines need people to maintain them, fix them. So we had to make sure that we had electro-technicians, we had gas plumbers, we had like all the trades. Like you can't be everything. So you have to rely on people, and you have to make sure that you have those people in the country to support you, to assist you whenever you need. Otherwise, you can't really operate. You will operate as far as your machine goes. If you have one machine that is down and you cannot operate anymore, then it puts your businesses at risk.
So cacao is cocoa, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So can you tell me, right, with cocoa, there's a lot of hurricane here. There's a lot of like weather is very unpredictable in Vanuatu. So for your business, because your business is a chocolate based, you rely on cocoa, right? So how do you overcome that, the weather, the thing? What do you do?
So we're the riskiest country on earth by assessment, and the way we do is we have self-insurance. So we would work on the east coast of an island and then do the same plantation on the west coast because the cyclone, it's very rare that it strikes both sides, okay? So you would always have one side that actually works. Then we would try and get insurance for what can be insured, which is a minimum part, but all the machines, they are being insured. That's something that helps us. It's a risk we don't take. Other than that, you tend to build a network of people with skills, okay? If you cannot prevent, you have to be able to fix very quickly after. That's the other way around. Like, if you cannot stop the thing from happening, you let it happen, and you need to know who will help you to fix things very quickly so your business is not shut for too long. That's the way we operate.
Okay, what about staff in Vanuatu? Is it easy to get staff? Are they easy to train? Are they easy, like, can you rely on the local staff?
It's a really good question. I run with 100% local staff, so my answer would be yes, it's feasible. What it takes though is a lot of time to train, because you don't find as many options in terms of curriculums and training in Vanuatu. So you have to realize when kids are out of school here, they only have a handful of options. So it means that many trades, you have to train them overseas or you have to train them yourself because there is no training available in country. My production manager is a farmer, he was trained from scratch. Now he does all the machines, opens them, fixes them, so there is competence locally. It takes time for you to train people and you have to find the right ones.
Okay, great. So a lot of Australian businessmen, right? Because I am from Australia, so they always go to Bali and open up there.
Yeah.
But I don't think they come here as much, So basically, right, for advice, in terms of advice, right, what do you have for any overseas businessmen that want to come and set up business here? What are the the things that they should do before they put the $200,000 down and start the business? Like, what did you learn?
It all comes to integration. I believe what will make you successful in your business is your will to actually embrace the local culture, blend in, learn the ways. Like Vanuatu is, as any country, it's got its specification, it's got its own culture, it's got its own vibe, and you have to embrace all of it. You cannot just come and stay out of it and sort of try to manage your business remotely, go back and forth to Australia. That would be lying to people to tell them that it's feasible. If you want to be successful in Vanuatu, you have to be in Vanuatu. You have to invest money and you have to invest your own time and you have to connect with the people here. Once you get known, people are very supportive. During the COVID, the country was closed and we managed to break even every month just with the local population. I mean, we're talking 60,000 people max, like in Port Vila, yet our business didn't have to close, we made it through. So it shows you how loyal people become when they get to know you, understand that what you do is a good business for this country.
Okay, finally, the last question. Can you tell us about your cafe in Vanuatu and why people should visit it?
I think what sets us apart from other coffee shops in town is we're actually a chocolate factory first. So you get to see all the machines, the equipment. You see Roy going back and forth behind me. All of what we do is done behind glasses, so anyone at any time can pop in the shop and see how we make chocolates. Our staff are instructed to actually stop and talk to you if you want to chat and learn more about. And all of what we serve is made with local products. It's 100% made in Vanuatu. We use our chocolate in all the pastries. We use the chocolate in the hot drinks. And I mean, if you're a chocolate lover, that's definitely the place to come.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. Hang on. Okay. Yeah, tell me what's your name and who you represent. Yeah.
My name is Minnie Bani. I am the current acting CEO of the Vanuatu Foreign Investment Promotion Agency. The agency is the government's only promotion body for foreign direct investment into Vanuatu, and we also act as the regulator or compliance agency for foreign direct investors that are established in Vanuatu.
Okay, great. So thank you for agreeing to this interview with dailystraits.com. So first question is, in regards to business investors, right? What kind of business investors are you looking for to come to Vanuatu?
Right, thank you for the question. Vanuatu seeks investments in specific sectors, priority sectors that we believe are aligned with the government's priorities. Currently, government's priorities are focused on agribusiness, improving agribusiness and tourism, building back the tourism industry. So our priorities will fall under government priorities. Therefore, we seek genuine investors that will come into production in value addition in the manufacturing industries. So specifically to improve value addition for Vanuatu and its key commodities. Vanuatu is an import-reliant country, and we believe there are vast and untapped potential in agriculture and primary sectors where we can cater for import substitution, and this can be in the form of FDIs that can set up and establish in Vanuatu. For our tourism industry, it is an industry that has often been hit hard with natural disasters. However, it is also one of the strongest industries in terms of bouncing back from recovery. Therefore, we support tourism investments, in particular boutique type resorts that will suit the lifestyle and the offerings of Vanuatu in terms of how it is set up and the natural landscapes and the beauty that can be found throughout the islands of Vanuatu. So any foreign direct investment that will capture this in their investment activities is number one for us, especially in terms of attracting tourists into Vanuatu. We also seek support in terms of education and health. These are key areas where we believe there's a growing population, genuine foreign investor that will want to come and invest in education and health is more than welcome to come in. Vanuatu overall is open to all forms of investments except for certain investment activities that are found under our reserved and restricted list of activities, and these can be accessed on our website as well.
What is the website, please?
The Vanuatu Foreign Investment Promotion Agency website is www.investvanuatu.vu, and you can access every information in terms of requirements of entry. To enter into Vanuatu, there are 7 steps that you have to undergo to establish presence. These include obtaining permits from business license, company registration, residency permits if you are going to reside in Vanuatu, work permits for any foreign workers that you will be employing for your business. All these steps and their processes can be found on our website, including number of days it will take to approve your business and the costs involved.
Okay, what is the minimum spend each investor should bring in?
For Vanuatu, we do not have a minimum bond as before. Before, we used to have a minimum requirement of 5 million Vanuatu that you had to prove your investment effort with. However, currently, investment is open. You only come in with the required fees, and again, you can access the total amount of these fees through our website and various other websites for our key line agencies. I would say to establish in Vanuatu, it would take you roughly 1 to 2 months after completing all completing all processes for permits and licenses. You should be good to start your business in around 1 to 2 months.
Sorry, can you just tell us what is the minimum fees, like just a ballpark figure?
Alright, I'll have to total everyone 408,000. So maybe I must. It's 408,000 in Vanuatu Vatu. In USD, that will be roughly 4,000 US dollars.
Oh, that's okay. That's all you need right
Yes.
now. Okay, great.
Yes.
Basically, right. Why should an investor come here? What's the benefits of coming and starting a business here?
Okay, Vanuatu offers quite a lot in terms of untapped potential, especially in primary sectors. The key reason that we promote Vanuatu as an investment destination is the lifestyle of Vanuatu. A lot of our investors who come here believe that Vanuatu is such a unique country to do business. It is very relaxed. You have some of the friendliest people in the world. We were named twice as the happiest place on the planet. So we believe that with the culture and the potential and opportunities that exist, a foreign investor investing in Vanuatu will not regret their decision. It is a small country. It is not known to many international key economic partners across the globe. However, this again adds to its uniqueness as an investment destination, and we believe that by choosing Vanuatu, you will not regret your decision.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Thank you.
Right.